Welcome to the Growing the Future podcast, where our future is always bigger than our past. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, our socials. Give us a follow on all those platforms. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website, growingthefuturepodcast.ca, to get emails about our new episodes as they come out. My next guest is a fantastically talented individual in so many different areas. I'm really excited to talk to her. At heart, she is an Agfluencer. That's a word she's working to get put in the dictionary, who's been involved in agriculture all of her life. She is highly educated with a degree in agribusiness management from Michigan State University, and she just finished her master's degree in agronomy from Auburn University. Congratulations. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But she says she's getting a real education working in the field, literally. Straight out of school, she took a job as a sales agronomist in California. That would have been an amazing adventure. She now works as an independent potato agronomist in Michigan. But that's not all, folks. She's had a career as a model. She was Miss Central Valley, California, 2019. Pageants help fund her schooling, and she's an entrepreneur. She describes herself as the nerd behind Agfluence, which is an agriculturally focused marketing company, which I get really excited about. Along with her business partner, Ashley Davenport, they take your story and turn it into effective results online. And every company on planet Earth wants to play that online game. So that's a very powerful thing. She's one of the more interesting follows on social media in agricultural, period. You can find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and she's probably most loves TikTok. And she's been on a whole host of interesting podcasts, including Shark Farmer and Happy Hour Agronomy. I highly recommend checking those episodes out. Welcome to the show, Crop Queen Marcia Cripps.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hey. So this is going to be a really interesting conversation. Frankly, it was hard for me to narrow down which part of your journey I really wanted to focus in on, because it's just so many tremendous aspects. But I think today we'll talk a little bit about your background, get into, your education journey, your agronomy profession, and talk about your company. And then at the end, we'll do a little ag Twitter lightning round. Very interesting Twitter feed. Very interesting, authentic thoughts that you share on Twitter. So my first question, though, it feels like starting right at the top, starting right at the beginning. If people find you on social media is largely how people get to know someone far away, like in this circumstance. And when I look at your Twitter, the pinned photo and the caption on your Twitter reads, "Grandpa Cripps, circa 1942, with his team of horses. Crazy how much change has happened in 78 years." That's probably a couple years ago. "Wish he could be here for a day and see how much has changed." Tell us more about what that photo means to you and how it relates to your whole origin story as a superhero.
Yeah, so that is my Grandpa Clayton Cripps from Alpena, Michigan. So that's northern Michigan. He had an apple blueberry farm, and yeah, it's crazy to think in just a couple of generations, he had a team of horses that was his tractor. And if you were here today and got to see like auto steering or just the massive size of this heavy machinery, I don't know if he could wrap his head around it.
Yeah, what do you think he would say if he was here today?
Probably speechless. Just couldn't imagine it. That we pretty much use a small device that controls everything.
Yeah, I've seen it on some farmers' wall where you go from the horse's harness to the steering wheel to GPS, which is really hands off. So, is that why you got involved in agriculture, Marcia, or was it more of a conscious decision on your part?
I'd agree with it. I think being around it as a kid. So I didn't really know my grandfather when I was alive. He passed away before I was born. But being around the family farm, and for my dad, we live in Flushing. I grew up in Flushing, Michigan, outside of Flint. So it was a lot of corn, soybeans. So I was around it all the time. My dad didn't really farm as much anymore. He kind of rented out the ground that we did have, but he did have a small like hay business on the side, and I really enjoyed it. So I was involved with 4-H, and I think that's what really got me interested in agriculture. And when I went to school, I took one class in and just like agronomy, and I really liked it, and that's what I just stuck with it.
Yeah. So, did you have a chance to get involved with the farming at all yourself? You were talking recently about how you thought the rentaling out of the land was actually an improvement for your dad. Why would you say that?
Well, you didn't have to work. You just somebody else did it, and then when Christmas time came, you just collected a check. So yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely. No, I agree with my dad 100% that it was a lot easier. You didn't really have to do much, and now with the way land prices are, it's just like a great time to sell.
Yeah, it's really gone crazy, I guess, with all the inflation that's going on. Owning income producing assets isn't a bad place to be on planet Earth. So, you seem to love the academia side, but I also heard you comment that you're getting the best education in the field. Tell us a little bit about what you learned in school, what you took from that, and how you've been applying it in the field.
Yeah, I really liked. I got really lucky. I went to the best university in the land, which is Michigan State University, and they did a really good job of preparing me for like every step of the agri-food chain, and just defining it. But yeah, you're right. You don't really learn unless you go out there and do it. Like, yeah, I did take an ag sales class, and it was cool that they could walk you through every cycle of the sales cycle, but it's not the same as going out there knocking on Joe Grower's door and going, hey, what are y'all thinking about herbicides for next year? So, no, best education you can ever get is just to go out there and learn. And I tell everybody this: if you can, try to find a good mentor and somebody that will work with you.
Right. So, how did you decide to get into pageants? What does it take to win a pageant, and how'd that help you get through school?
Yeah, so my dad actually put me into my first pageant when I was like 2 years old, so I don't really remember that. And I ended up winning
Wow.
it, and it had a scholarship, and my parents ended up creating kind of like a trust for it. And then every time I won any kind of pageant, like we just would throw the money in there, and I couldn't touch it till I went to school. And yeah, I did Miss America organization. A lot of people think pageants don't have anything to do with school, but actually, it's like one of the largest scholarship forms that women can get in this day and age is through pageants.
Well,
So
part of your
yeah,
theme
it was pretty
seems to
cool.
be communicating about agriculture on these different platforms, and it sounds like you were using the pageant as a platform too, because you were uh, your chosen charity or foundation of choice was Plant Foundation. Connecting kids to science through agriculture.
Correct.
Can you tell
Yes.
us about that?
So yes, I believe agriculture shouldn't just be an extracurricular activity. I think it's important that it's a part of school. And what Plant Foundation did is they created pretty much curriculum for K through 12 based on agriculture. And this is before Zoom was cool. Like we do it virtually. And interestingly enough, we were very popular in South Korea. And yeah, we had pretty much it was an interactive live presentation. So the kids, they would get like cotton and they got to touch it, feel it, and ask questions about how it was grown. So I'm really proud to be a part of that organization and also promote it through Miss America. And yeah, I think it's important that we include ag science as part of the curriculum, not just as an extracurricular activity.
That's amazing. I wonder why it was
Thank
more
you.
popular in South Korea. Did you have any folks that you influenced to actually become part of agriculture at some point, or did you mentor anybody?
Yes. So I've been really lucky that for me, my mentoring has been through internship programs. One that I helped in California, and now in Michigan, I help run an internship program. And it's always awesome to work with these kids and see them graduate and go on to accept a job offer in agriculture. And I think that's pretty cool. And I also love just getting calls, texts, or any messages from them and helping them navigate their first real job.
Yeah. Well, you're also on TikTok and all these social media platforms, and I'm sure you're having a positive influence on people outside of agriculture too. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But as far as the agronomy side of things, academically, how did you find the modern education system? Like, you're a very scientifically oriented person. I mean, would you gravitate towards the nuts and bolts of the science of agronomy? Was that exciting for you in school?
Yeah, I really like that. I really enjoyed learning just about like microbial organisms. I think that's something it's becoming more of a hot topic now, but a lot of people overlook. I really enjoyed learning how to apply chemistry and physics and mathematics in a realistic way. And I think a lot of people like overlook when you're taking a sample, for example, that like how much science goes in behind that, and like you're pretty much opening somebody's financial statements. Like that's pretty much what you're doing, and you should treat your recommendations as if they're like a financial advisor giving financial advice. So I
Yeah,
always
that's
liked
your
it.
bank in the soil, really.
Correct, yes, pretty much. And calcium, the pH, all those numbers are like income statements or your credit score. Like for me, that's what I tell growers whenever you throw a soil sample in front of me, that it's just pretty much showing me like what's in your bank, what's in your safe, what's in your checking, what's in your savings. Do you have a good credit score? Like that's what it tells me.
Nice. Nice. So you started out as a sales agronomist in California. What was the craziest thing about working in California?
The regulations, oh my gosh. Yeah, I felt like
Really?
and the crop diversity, I think that was the really beautiful part about starting my career in California is I got to see everything. Like a loofah is actually a crop. Like I got to learn about stuff like
Never
that.
heard of that one.
And yeah, no, that's a real thing. Loofahs are a crop. They're grown. And then yeah, or like get to see citrus. So I think it was really cool that I got to learn just any kind of crop variety that you could think of. And also the technology. I will say California, when it comes to ag tech, like it was mind blowing for me.
Yeah, it's a whole different scale and a whole different mindset, I'm sure, and different set of crops. And seems to be where a lot of new products go to be tested, especially on the biology side. I heard that's a really hot spot. Are you working with a lot of biology now? Now you're working as an independent agronomist in potato country in Michigan. Are you guys getting into like applying biology, moving on the spectrum from chemistry to biology, or how's that working?
Yeah, we do work with biological products. So I think that's just any grower around here, especially in the veg like side of stuff. I see it getting used more, and no, that's a positive thing. I think there's a lot of information out there. So right now, I think everybody, even in California too, people are just trying to figure out what works for them and what doesn't. And the only way you can do that is by trying. So I think if we think scientifically and when we do apply these products, do a good job of record keeping, I think that just helps everybody in the end.
Awesome. So what is the difference then between working as a sales agronomist to what you're doing now, which is maybe a little bit more like coaching, it seems like?
So yeah, sales agronomy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sales. You're living and dying by a quota number. Where now I don't think I'm independent, so I work in house for one large potato grower. So instead, now I'm kind of on the other side. All the sales agronomists are coming up to me, and then I'm the one to go, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna go with this product," or "No," or "Let's think about it," or "Can we do a trial?" So
Is that the sweet spot for you? Just working with one large farm where you kind of have the freedom to implement your ideas and just get used
yeah,
to
I
the
really like
infrastructure and
that.
let it
No,
roll?
I'm really happy about it. I like it because then there's less traveling. I mean, this is a large farm, so it's not like I don't travel, but I like that I know where I'm going every day. Whereas a sales agronomist, you don't really know. Like, you start Monday and you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna be here, and then by the end of the week, you ended up like 6 hours north of where you're at. So no, I really like it.
Did you
I
have to go and
also
build your portfolio as a sales agronomist? Were you cold calling and stuff like that?
yeah, it was a lot of cold calling or like following up on leads, and it was just a lot of running around. So, no, I'm really glad to not be in sales anymore just because also on the safety aspect of it too, it just wasn't a safe job. So, yeah.
Wasn't a safe job.
Yeah, I would 100% back that up. Yeah, I feel really bad telling a lot of young girls that want to go into this field to avoid a sales job, but I have been just because got a couple of restraining orders, and yeah, I just had a lot of threats that shouldn't have happened. So, and I found out I'm not
Unbelievable.
alone too. I'm part of a lot of large groups that are for women in ag, and yeah, it's just a lot of disrespect, and I don't think anybody should take it. So yeah, I was very happy when I quit my sales job, like really happy.
Do you think things are
And
changing? I mean, obviously, we still have a really long ways to go, but I mean, are things improving? I mean, with examples like yourself out there to coach people?
I think they are, but not fast enough. So I tell a lot of young girls when they're considering like what job offers they have, I'm like, if you can, try not to take the sales job. I tell them if finances are
Wow.
a problem, I'm like, then go ahead and do it. But I always tell them, I'm like, just take the money, but don't try to make this career a part of your identity. So, yeah, that is my
Pretty
advice. I
sad
know
that
people don't
anybody
like
would have to
hearing
be
that, but
afraid
it's the
to work in
truth. I
it.
tell every
Yeah.
young girl that's like 22 years old with their first job, I'm like, if you can, try to take the office job or an in-house role. If you can't, though, I totally understand. But I'm like, make sure you're getting compensated if you're gonna go take the sales job.
Well, it was really interesting. You made a comment there, and I wanted to know more about what you said because dealing with people doesn't matter what business you're in is becoming more and more of a thing with technology and automation, right? To me, the jobs in any industry are really dealing with people. But you said, as an agronomist, your experience as a bartender and server helped you the most when dealing with different personalities in difficult situations. Like, why is that? How are farmers like folks drinking in the bar? And I don't know. Maybe this is the wrong place to take it after your previous comments, but I was very curious about how that helped you deal with people in some tough situations, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think dealing with people that are like very particular about like how they want their meal, I think that's really been most helpful because I get it for farmers, and it should be like this is their baby, like this is their livelihood, and they want stuff done a particular way. And I think being a bartender and server really just helped me articulate and make sure that things go right, and when they do go wrong, how to handle it. I think handling conflict has really been helpful when I was bartending. Like I got to see like multiple kinds of conflict, including alcohol induced ones. And not saying that farmers are alcoholics, but sometimes emotions get really
It's
high.
prevalent.
And yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I really think I don't think I'd be a good conflict resolution person if it weren't for doing bartending. So I really like that. But I think anybody that I know, like not just an agriculture industry, like if you were a bartender or server, it's helped you so much, like in your day to day job, regardless if it's ag or not. Because
Yeah, it would
conflicts are
certainly
going to
toughen
happen,
you up.
problems are going to happen. It's just how they're handled. That's what's going to determine if you get to come back or not.
The farm is typically a really high pressure place, and we don't have a lot of human resources infrastructure until farms reach a certain point, and What is it like now on the ranch that you're working on, so to speak? Like, you find it's a good atmosphere for everyone?
Yeah, but no, I'd agree with that. That yeah, my conflict resolution wouldn't be there, but I'm really lucky where I'm at right now. They're a large enough farm that they do have the HR infrastructure, and it's pretty much structured like a corporation. So I guess I'd categorize it as like a mid-sized company.
How did things go for you guys this year? What are you most proud of achieving, or how was the year?
It was a really challenging year weather-wise. Like we started out super dry. Like I remember everybody was like freaking out, thinking, "Oh gosh, it's gonna be like that dry year." But then it changed, and then toward the end, it was hard harvesting just because we kept getting rained out. So really proud of the team for getting it all done before the ground froze, and that also really like that we were very good about giving time off to people. So I think that was really refreshing to see, and especially for like 4th of July. Like usually I never get that off, so I thought that was really cool. And no, very happy with how stuff turned out agronomically. Couple things to change, but I mean, there's stuff that we can't really control. But I liked how we controlled the situations that we could control.
So you're taking the data that you're getting from things like soil tests and whatever yield maps and stuff they're working with and implementing that. You're making a lot of the decisions for the farm. That must be pretty intense.
Yeah, some of the decisions, not all of them. I'm pretty lucky. I kind of get to work more on the trial side of it, so I get to try all the new products and record what happens or try the new things. But when it comes to like making decisions, like oh, what seed are we doing next year, I don't really have to. So that's why I also really like this role too. That I don't have to. The big decisions like that aren't pushed on my shoulders. It's just more of oh, do we get to try this next year? So I like that.
Did you have anything that you tried this year that worked really well that you want to implement going forward?
I think spacing. There was a couple of spacing trials that we did that I think showed us that that's the direction we need to go in as a farm. But I guess the only scary part about if we go down that road is all of our machinery has been set up a certain way, so we got to change all that to accommodate the new spacing. But customer preference now for potato chips was that they want something smaller and more circular. And in order to make that happen, we got to make our spacing smaller. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, it's all about the processors and potatoes. Hey,
Yep.
you guys don't have irrigation down there? You're talking about it being dry?
Yes, we do have pivot irrigation, but we can get away with dry land around here too because we just get that much rain. Like we get like I think one weekend we got like 10 inches. So
Is
yeah,
water limitation
we
there a concern?
no, not at all. We live in the Great Lakes, so
Nice.
I think more of our concern when it came to water management this year was making sure to get it off the field, but everything's tiled.
Nice.
It's not like
Cool.
California.
So you've got, beyond being an agronomist, you got a little bit of a side hustle going, Agfluencer. Tell us about how you got that started and why you got into. Would you call it a side hustle, or is it going to be the big thing long term?
Yeah, I'd say it's a side hustle for now, but yeah, Agfluence, how I got into it, I got asked by farmers in California to run their social media because people just liked what I was doing with my personal stuff. And then it turned into a business. I started to realize I needed help with it. So I got connected with Ashley Davenport through Twitter, and she was everything that I lacked. Like she's got a advanced degree in ag communications, and yeah, I've got good content ideas. It's just sometimes my delivery isn't there, and also I needed somebody with a strong background in PR, and she was that person. So yeah, we teamed up together and we created Agfluence, and yeah, we pretty much just want to be a one-stop shop for anybody with ag marketing needs and how to navigate just the digital media space for farmers. and anybody in the agri-food chain.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really fascinating space because most companies have such an opportunity with almost free platforms. I mean, it's
Correct.
anybody's game for the taking, but most companies, perhaps well warranted, are just terrified of doing almost anything online. Like what are companies
Well,
missing the
yeah, I mean,
ball
you
on?
saw
How
that
do you help them
incident
get
with
there?
Pioneer Seeds.
Which
Like,
one was that?
you
Sorry.
saw that you saw that awkward incident with Pioneer Seeds.
I do recall something about that. Yeah, could you inform us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Pioneer, some farmer, he took a picture. It was a bunch of corn that was just like laying down after wind, and it was Pioneer seed. He tagged him in it and said, he was like, "Look what you guys did." He's like, "The corn's down" or something. And they retweeted it and said, "Yeah, we love seeing stuff like this," and it was like a big oopsie. Yeah, yeah,
Well, tone deaf agencies in agriculture is a perpetual issue because you can hardly hire someone. I mean, if you don't understand the culture, if you haven't worked in the business, it's hard to hit the right tone. And I find agriculture is especially small community, but it's pretty vibrant community online. I think especially Twitter, there's a lot of
yeah,
coffee shop conversations that you can be privy to, you can take part in, or you can die by the sword there as well. Um,
yep.
can be really good, it can be really bad. But for most companies, something like that's terrifying. Like, how do you guys help companies manage crises online like that?
Yeah, we do. Thankfully, I mean, knock on wood, like we've never had a situation like that because we're running the social media, and both me and Ashley, she grew up on a farm, and I have the ag background, so we don't run into that. We haven't gotten to
Right.
the point where we start bringing in people outside of us, but I'm pretty sure it'll happen. We do have like a crisis like situation planned out, but hasn't been implemented.
Yeah. So how do you encourage companies to reach their audience on social media, and what platforms are you focused on?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Twitter is a really good one. Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. I think if you go on Farm Talk right now, like there's 220 million viewers, and no, it's good to see that John Deere finally like joined it. Because John Deere had like millions of views, just like if you just search John Deere and they were nowhere to be seen. So I'm glad to see like large companies like that doing something about it
Yeah, I
and
think
capitalizing
that's
on
a
their
whole new
audience.
frontier. Like, how do you physically go about starting on TikTok? Because I mean, I think a lot of people look at it and it seems a world away to be dancing and carrying on and miming and karaokeing on TikTok. But really, I mean, if you want to be seen, that's kind of where a lot of the action is right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think you need to be like singing, dancing, or doing all those trends. The cool thing about TikTok is that you can just get on there and start talking, and it goes to a target audience. I really like the algorithm on TikTok. So, for example, I thought it was a really cool thing this year that during harvest season, people were just going on TikTok and talking about just general safety for the general public. Like, if you see large, heavy farm machinery, don't like whip past it going 60 miles per hour, and just common sense stuff like that. And it was so cool to see people that had no involvement in agriculture go, well, you know what? I didn't know that. Next time I'm going to slow down when I see that. Or like just small things like that. So I think that's why I like TikTok so much is that it gets agriculture in front of an audience that isn't just ag, where like Instagram, for example, it just promotes choir preaching. All it does is that it puts your content in front of people that like the same content that you do.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well, to me, that's really what's required. I mean, I don't know how you coach people to be, advocates if that's really what they're going for. But it seems like there's an element of sort of preaching down on consumers and everybody else that's not in agriculture, which I don't think wins many hearts and minds. But I've seen
Yeah.
some highly successful accounts that are just drawing people in because they're just damn good by nature. And I think even something like Yellowstone, at least, like how many strong TV shows that are extremely popular have represented any sort of rural bias whatsoever. And now, I mean, who can't fall in love with Yellowstone? It's given everybody a glimpse into, I mean, for anybody that grew up on any kind of ranch, you can relate to a lot of the shit that goes down on Yellowstone, because some of it's a little
Yeah.
bit outlandish, but we had cows that died from bloating, and we got kicked in the face with a horse or whatever. Lots, I mean, there's lots of crazy stuff that goes on the farm we can relate to. So I think it draws in people rather than preaching. I don't know how you coach people on achieving that, but
You actually like the show Yellowstone? I tried to like
I
it.
really
I really
do.
did. I tried to like it, and then
I really do.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about Yellowstone that
You
I
couldn't
don't
get
find
into
it
it.
entertaining at all. Like I tried to watch it twice and I fell asleep on it. But yeah. Um no, I think my encouragement to people is just to share your story. I think a lot of it is I get the fear of not sharing. Like I understand that, but I think being able to, and you don't need to share your whole story. Like you can just find small tidbits in your day and kind of have like a conflict and then a resolution after it. That's what I always tell people to kind of do their stories. And it could be something as small as trying to figure out timing or trying to figure out how to open a gate properly without causing any issues. So, yeah,
Well, you
you
have a
don't
ton of
need a
interaction. You have
huge
a really
fancy
good brand
production.
online. Part of what I saw you doing successfully is you seem to open a lot of conversations or just share little things about your day or what you're thinking that are pretty interesting. You're getting a lot of interaction. Like how does it it's one thing for a person to be doing that quite naturally, but how does a company do that, especially if there's nobody in the company that really wants to build a brand within the company? Like, can you get a company there?
I think you can. I mean, a good example of this, and this is what I tell everybody: there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I mean, look at all these beauty companies; they do a great job of that, and it's just interacting, asking the customer and the audience the right questions, and you'd be surprised to see what reaction you get. Like, I'll use an example: Revlon. Revlon on TikTok. I really like that they were talking about I know this probably doesn't relate to you, but they had like this brush that was like a hit, and they asked their audience on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, what's something that you would improve about it? And they got like millions of messages. And the coolest part was they came out with a product, the new Revlon brush, that incorporated what people were asking. And
Hmm.
I think it'd be so cool if like John Deere or Pioneer, I don't care, any large ag input company would do what Revlon did. And because they got the ability to do it, just straight up ask, hey, what's one product that you love, but you love even more if we tweaked it a little?
That's the interesting thing I've been thinking about a lot lately in terms of social media strategies. There's so many great examples of really what's working well in other industries. I don't even know if you'd need to come up with a single novel idea if you really got ambitious and found the best of what's working on the internet and emulated that somehow. Um, I guess you could transform a Revlon brush campaign into the latest and greatest fertilizer or piece of John Deere equipment or whatever. But
Yeah,
that
I
is
think you
pretty. It's
could.
almost like a GoFundMe type concept, right? Driven by the public.
Yep. Yep. No, I think
Nice.
yeah, there's no reason to, like you said, come up with something new. I think there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. You can just copy what a lot of other companies have done. But then again, ag's always 10 to 20 years behind. Like what
Why
they're
would a
doing right
farm
now with
bother
like
with
social media
branding?
campaigns, I find funny because I remember Revlon was doing like the giveaways, like, oh, like this photo, and like the giveaways and stuff. Like that was 10 years ago. Like I could see like Revlon doing, they did exactly that. I remember they were giving
Yeah.
away eyeshadow palettes, and but you had to go like their page, stuff like that. And I see it with like, I think I saw Corteva was doing it. They were giving away like coolers, but you had to go like their Instagram page. And I just find it funny that it's just 10 years lag.
Yeah, we recently came to the conclusion that having some sort of giveaway at the trade show with people putting their contacts in was pretty much useless. Like, it just, as far as yielding any actual results, reaching your audience. How is it good? Like, what is the purpose of a farm branding themselves? Do you see a lot of more and more farms wanting to brand themselves for various reasons?
I do, and I think it's really awesome to see that. And no, I think it's good. It brings brand awareness to you, and I think in the future, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I think it'll get to the point where we're going to see more direct to farm marketing. Like, I don't think there is going to be a middleman, or that middleman's going to shrink.
You think consumers are more interested in knowing where their food is coming from and dealing directly with the people that produce it?
I agree. I agree with that statement. I kind of see that happening. You see more people at farmers markets, and the consumers more aware than I think a lot of people want to give credit to.
Well, you've done a lot of interesting stuff. You've conquered the world of academia and competed. I love that you competed. That must be a highly competitive arena, the pageantry, and now you're working in agronomy, helping produce food, and also you're helping companies with social media, which I think is a huge deal. My impression is that you're highly accomplished in whatever you take on. You really put everything into it. What's next for the Crop Queen? What's the next big frontier of what you want to accomplish or achieve? Now you just got done your master's. That must have been pretty all encompassing. What are you going to be working on next?
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool and exciting. No, I think I'm just gonna keep doing my day job. I really enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep doing that. Other than that, I've just been really educating myself on coding. So that's what I've been occupying a lot of my free time, is just learning to code and getting more into the tech atmosphere. And yeah, I'd like to take those coding skills and create software and help develop programs that'll just help implement agronomic ideas and also keep track of it.
You're going to apply this directly to agronomy and farming?
Yes, correct. Well, I mean, you see the growth in ag tech companies, and sooner or later, they're going to need somebody that can code but also understand agronomy, because ag is unique. It's yeah, you can have a good, talented like software engineer that creates stuff, but if they don't understand ag, you see, like, you can just tell. So
That is
that's what I've
interesting.
been
So you'd be
doing.
working on developing something right on the farm there.
Correct.
Nice.
Yep. I won't be surprised
Exciting
if
stuff.
a lot of producers have it. Like, just have like a software person. I mean, you're already starting to see it, like, with the large companies.
Techgronomist, I think, is the technical term I've heard.
Correct. Or digital agronomist. I mean, that's a role that didn't exist a few years ago, but now it's definitely a thing.
That is the fascinating part about agriculture now. It's not just being a jack of all trades on the farm and having to fix everything and create everything and do everything yourself. I mean, there's specialized roles on farms, whether it's marketing or the digital side or agronomy or
Yep.
financial, coaching, HR. So you're going to maybe move long term into the tech agronomy side then.
Yeah, I think I really have a passion for tech, so I think that's what I'm going to be focusing more of my time and energy on.
Okay, and we're back with the hashtag Ag Twitter lightning round with Crop Queen Marcia. And this one's going to be a little bit different because I didn't ask the audience for any questions, but I did go through your Twitter feed, Marcia, which is endlessly fascinating, the things that you share. And I thought we could pull out a few quick things that I'd get you to expand on. as much or as little as you want in a quick little segment here. So the first part is you said recently you're starting to work with a trainer again after 2 years hiatus. Why is that a good investment of your time and your energy, Marcia?
Yeah, I'm really excited. So the trainer is one of my best friends, Hannah Haynes, and she actually holds a world record for lifting. But yeah, no, she's somebody that I look up to. But I really like that she's created an online program to pretty much work with like my busy schedule of being an agronomist. As you know, like it's just not like a regular 9 to 5 job, and I think it's so important for people to invest in their mental and physical health. So I'm excited to be doing it this way.
Awesome. Yeah, trying to work around agronomic schedule is pretty challenging for sure. So that's good. I was fascinated by your take on the notebook. That's like a classic for a lot of females that I know. Why did you say that's everything that's wrong with
Well,
relationships?
because it's toxic. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie or read the book, but it's just straight up toxic, and I can't believe that was romanticized. And pretty much the target audience was young women, and I just think that's really dangerous that that was romanticized.
Yeah, it's crazy some of the lessons that Hollywood's been perpetuating for years about some fantasy about how things should be.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I thought that was dangerous media to be out there.
Dangerous should be flagged. Should be flagged in the Blockbuster on a special section of its own. We're all just on a floating rock for no good reason. We
Yeah.
might as well just live it up.
Yep. No, I agree. I think
That's part of your
well, I always
ethos.
say that to myself when I'm about to like make like a risky decision is I go, well, you know what? We're just on a floating rock. Might as well just try it. Like, yeah. I don't know, but that's just me, my
How
philosophy. I
bad could
think
it
it's
be?
better to try something, fail at it than not try at all.
Yep. No, I love it. That gives you the courage to plunge ahead. You said you're 25 and you have the ability to invest $2,000 to $3,000 per month.
Mhm.
Wow. Already maxed out your 401.
Yes.
You've been investing mutual funds, REITs, stocks, commodities, cryptos. You were asking which one you should go on heavier than the rest, and your goal is to be closer to financial freedom. Where did this like financial act? I mean, you're collecting money for pageants since you were 2. You got a couple grand a month to invest. You know, you want to hit financial freedom. Like, seems like you're good with money. How does that come to be?
I got really blessed and lucky that my mom and dad like taught me money when I was a younger age, and they prioritized education. Like I said, I really like that whenever I did get money from pageants, they put it pretty much in a trust, and I couldn't touch it. And they taught me the like importance of making sure that my money worked harder than I did, and so I learned that from my mom and dad, and then I started investing when I was like 16 on my own, with the help of my parents. And yeah, I think your financial education, I found out, I hate to say it, but it's generational. Like I understand the idea of generational wealth, not just in having like just money from your family, but the education as well. And yeah, I'd say that's where it came from. But now, due to social media and stuff, it's just so easy to find information on how to make money by just like pressing buttons. And no, I think anybody can do it, even if they didn't have the financial foundation from like family. So no, but I think it's
And what would you do once you're financially free?
travel and not work. Yep.
Well, if you can get there by 35, that would be
Yeah,
amazing.
that's my goal. I'd like to get there to
See
that
a lot of the
point
world.
and then just kind of do that. But no, I think no, I've actually, to answer that tweet too. What I ended up doing was I ended up buying property and real estate with the intention to flip it.
Nice. So are you doing some rental work then, or you're
Yes,
just
I'd like to. I'd like to get to the
renting it out
point
for a while?
where like I can just have like a few tenants, and yeah, that'll be like my, I guess my retirement gig is be a landlord.
Nicely diversified. Love it. This last one I thought was really interesting. I think it speaks to a lot of angst that pretty much everybody has on social media about how to present themselves and how to position themselves and what to share and what not to share. But it starts with confession. Um, it's going to be juicy when you say confession. My social media accounts a few years ago was your typical hot girl account with a bunch of sultry photos. Ended up deleting that content because it wasn't me. Took a hit to my ego and lost followers, but rebranding was the best decision I made. I became free, and now it feels so awesome that people interact with my content because of my thoughts. My point is, don't be afraid to stop and start over if your heart isn't in something because it doesn't feel authentic. Now I don't have a high quantity of followers, but I have high quality
Mhm.
followers.
I stress this all the time with everybody. I'm like, it's not about the number of followers, it's the quality of followers. Like, you got to ask yourself, what is your target market and are you hitting them? And if not, then it's time to stop what you're doing and re reroute yourself. And yeah, I mean, it was hard. Like, I had like 50,000 followers before, and then to see that drop down to like
Oh
20,000,
wow.
like it was hard to see that. But no, I needed I needed to have that done in order to get to where I'm at now.
Good for you. Well, I appreciate all the content that you put out there. I think you're totally on the right track, and it's great to see you helping other people with social media because I think virtually every company really struggles with how to win online and reach their audience. So good for you. Pretty fascinating journey. I appreciate you coming on the show, Marcia. It was great to meet you, and I'm sure the audience is going to get lots of this conversation. So if people want to reach out to you or have a chat with you about what you're doing, how you're helping companies with social media, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Marcia?
Yeah, you can reach me on all my social media. It's the same. It's at Crop Queen Marcia, and then yeah, my DMs are always open, and I welcome any and all questions, comments, concerns, and yeah, um, I like it. I really like it a lot. So yeah, appreciate you
Cool.
for doing this,
Well, hey, thanks for
and
coming on the show. It
yeah,
means a
having me
lot.
on here.
Yeah, that was very cool. It's very cool to meet you. Shane Thomas recommended a long time ago that I have you on the show. He's always seen you as an influencer, and I think I was following you before that. But really love the way that you brand yourself and represent agriculture too. So thanks
Oh,
for
I
that.
appreciate that. That means a lot coming from folks like yourself.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk to you again soon.
That's good.